Typically, in order to improve your income, your career, your business, you would have to somehow improve your brain. So you would go through training, you would get coaching, you would find ways to make better decisions, and it's all about improving your personal intelligence. But in my book, The Four Brains, Your Four Brains, I talk about how your biological brain is only one source of intelligence, and you should develop your other three sources of intelligence, or what I call your second brain, your third brain, and your fourth brain. So let's take a look at these additional brains that will amplify your biological brain. And in many ways, you can develop these three brains much faster than you can develop your personal or biological brain. So your second brain is basically the software, the books, the tools that you have available in your home or in your office. And it is a private brain because you're not showing or sharing this second brain with other people. Your personal library, the files that you have on your computers or smartphone or tablet, the software programs that you're using, and the ways in which you're using those software programs, all of that constitute your private brain or your second brain. If you can download or purchase software programs or data from the internet or other people, then you can develop this second brain, which of course will be developed much faster than your biological brain, because to download, so to speak, knowledge into your brain, you would have to go through training, and that takes time and it takes effort. But to download a software program or software programs or data files to your computers, it can happen within seconds. And so that's why I said before that your second brain can grow much faster than your first brain. Your third brain is the parts of your second brain which you're commercializing. So you're selling parts of your second brain in the open marketplace to other people, and you're getting money or resources in return, which will allow you to develop your first brain and your second brain. Your fourth brain is parts of your three brains that you're releasing as an open source through an open source license. So you allow other people to use your fourth brain, uh, and sometimes to resell it. It depends on the license, but it's an open source brain. And in the same way that Linux is developed, you can develop your fourth brain and benefit from the feedback and the contributions of other people. So your fourth brain can be software programs, can be ebooks or video courses, which are open source. So you're inviting users to provide feedback so that you can grow your fourth brain much faster than your first brain or even your second brain, because your second brain has to be developed by you. No, sorry, your third brain has to be developed by you before you commercialize it. But your fourth brain is developed in an open source manner through a community of contributors. So it's important to understand these three brains, and even to understand your first brain. Most people don't know how their brains operate, how they can feed their brain. They don't know about the precuneus or the caudate nucleus, etc. And so it's important to develop all your four brains. Your first brains will contain a psychology component, and your third brain also will contain psychology components, because you have to know about consumer psychology and consumer behavior in order to sell your fourth brain effectively. Now, I talk about brains, but I define a brain very specifically as a set of algorithms as well as the data, the relevant data and files used. And so in the diagram, you show that parts of your second brain will be commercialized so that you can get money and you can develop your second brain. And parts of your three brains will be released as an open source project or projects so that you can develop those parts. And this will benefit your first, second, and third brain. So with this four brain framework, you can systematically strive to develop rapidly your four brains, and together they constitute your holistic intelligence. And people who don't have an awareness of these three additional brains, they will just rely on their biological brain in order to improve their marketability, their market value to employers and clients. But they're not aware that developing your second, your third, and your fourth brain is actually faster, it requires less effort, and it's much more profitable than developing your biological brain. So, for young people, for example, I'm not sure that they should spend so much time at school learning something when in fact they can download a software program or an AI agent that will do what they're supposed to learn at university. So it's very much like the movie The Matrix, where if you need to learn a skill, you can just download it directly into your brain and you're going to be able to do or perform that task. You don't need to learn, and most of the learning in colleges and universities is just in case learning. You don't know if you're going to need it, but you learn it because that's been the way that universities and curriculum have been designed, but that's not aligned with reality anymore. So it's much better to not learn too much, not develop your biological brain, um, and clutter it with information that you don't need. It's better to learn to develop your second brain, so that you have all the information, all the algorithms, all the quote unquote skills at your disposal without spending your precious time learning something. So you download everything into your second brain and you don't try to learn and download into your first brain, because it takes too much effort and it's not strategic, because you might not need that information. The second brain is when you download something just in time, just when you need it. The third brain is when you have an interface and you're selling parts of your second brain and your first brain. No, just your second brain. You're selling it in the open marketplace. And the fourth brain is open source. So you join a community, you might even become the leader of an open source project. And as the leader, you can be the curator, like Linus Torvalds is the benevolent dictator for the Linux operating system.